who exactly thinks the president is doing a good job on inflation? Because we've got a new poll that finds he receives his lowest job ratings on inflation, net negative 38 points.
We understand that there are challenges that are in front of us here in this country. That is why the president has taken action to lower costs.
You know, I know, and I don't blame you, you want to ask me about the midterms. And here's what I think. It's been back and forth with them ahead, us ahead, them ahead, back and forth. And the polls have been all over the place. I think that we're going to see one more shift back to our side in the closing days. And let me tell you why I think that. We're starting to see some of the good news on the economy. Gas prices are down sharply in 46 of the 50 states because of what I've been doing.
Thank you for what you've done, particularly all the workers here.
Ready, get set, go? Well, good afternoon. Earlier this year, because...
Let me tell you, I'm a proud Delawarean, but Pennsylvania is my native state. It's in my heart. I can't tell you how much it means to me to be part of rebuilding this beautiful state. My grandfather, Finney from Scranton, would really be proud of me right now. No, I'm not joking, he would. By the way, he was an All-American football player, John, in Santa Clara.
On the debt ceiling, do you support the permanent repeal of the debt ceiling, sir?
The permanent repeal of the debt ceiling? What do you mean?
Debt limit? Yes.
You mean just say we don't have a debt limit?
No debt limit.
No, that'd be irresponsible. Today, I'm announcing a plan to refill the Strategic Petroleum Oil Reserve in the years ahead at a profit for taxpayers. The United States government's going to purchase oil to refill the Strategic Petroleum Reserve when prices fall to $70 a barrel. That means oil companies can invest to ramp up production now with confidence they'll be able to sell their oil to us at that price in the future, $70. Refining and refilling the reserve at $70 a barrel is a good price for companies, and it's a good price for the taxpayers. And I wasn't going to get involved in politics anymore, so I became a full professor at the University of Pennsylvania. But before that occurred, 3 universities came to me and said they wanted to interview me to consider my being a president of the university. My wife, who's a professor at a community college, has 2 masters and a PhD, but she's smarter than me. And she looked at me, she said, if you do that, I'm leaving you. She said, it's one of the toughest jobs in America, especially if you start arguing about parking spaces and office windows.
Well, to help your members of Congress here today, I signed into law a once-in-a-generation investment in roads, highways, bridges, railroads, ports, airports, and so much more. Over $1.2 billion. It's called the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law. And it's the most significant investment in American infrastructure, roads, bridges, et cetera, than Eisenhower's interstate highway system.
So that's working on the economy every day.
So you said he's been working on the economy every day for 19 months. Now Bloomberg economists are forecasting a 100% chance of a recession. So how is it that we can be barreling towards a recession and the economy is, as the president says, strong as hell?
So here's the thing about the economy, and I've said this many times. You've heard this from Secretary Yellen. You've heard this from Brian Deese, who runs our Economic Council, is that what we are seeing right now is the job market is strong. The labor force is strong. And that is not what we see usually before a recession. It's seeing an economy that is going into a transition with more stable growth, more steady growth, and that is because of the work that this president has done. That is because of the economic policy that he has put forward.
You may have gotten into this in response to Peter's question, but I want to approach it just somewhat differently. CBS News poll that was out yesterday indicated that 2/3 of voters believe that the administration is not doing all it can and could be doing more to curb inflation. What does the White House think? Does the White House think it's doing all it can to curb inflation?
What we understand is we understand that the American people are going through a difficult time. And we have said that. You've heard the president say that. And we understand how it is tough. It is a tough time for them. That's why the Inflation Reduction Act is so critical and key, because it's going to lower energy costs and it's going to lower healthcare costs. We get it. We get it. I know you're asking me about a specific poll, a specific number from your own publication, and we get it. We understand. But we're going to continue to do the work.
If President Biden's top domestic priority is inflation, why doesn't he have more to show for it? So the president understands, and we've talked about this many times, that inflation is an issue, high cost is an issue for the American people. And so he's been very clear about making that his number one economic priority. And he has done the work. And he's done the work with congressional Democrats, when you think about the Inflation Reduction Act, which is how Republicans are actually going to make things worse, and Democrats want to do the opposite and make things a little easier.
One more on the SPR release. Some White House officials have been talking for the last few days about the fact that it's a possibility. Can you explain why, with gas prices, you mentioned earlier that gas prices are going down again, why would the U.S. need another SPR release from that 180 million barrels that you already announced? Why would you need that now if prices are already dropping?
So again, I'm not going to get ahead of the president. As you know, there's going to be an announcement tomorrow on the president's policy, his next move forward on what he's going to do. So, as you know, gas prices have indeed come down. I just listed some of the states where we had seen an increase, and now we're seeing a decline this past week. They came down at the fastest pace in over a decade this summer and have continued to fall in recent days. President Biden's going to continue to take action to make sure that he lowers costs.
Do you have any response to those who are criticizing the White House, saying that this seems like a ploy ahead of the midterms?
Look, the president, I would say this to folks. Should the president not do everything that he can to lower prices? Should he not continue to keep his promise to give American people a little bit of breathing room? That's the promise that he's made. Should he not do that? And so that's what you're seeing right now. This is something that he has done throughout the summer.
I'll follow up on the student loan question that was asked a little earlier, too. The president yesterday, for those of us who were in the South Court auditorium, mentioned the concerns about the legal challenges. Is there a message to the people, the tens of millions of Americans who are signing up for this forgiveness right now, who may be eager to see it actually come into their accounts, who may face the possibility that at least for a while there's a federal judge somewhere who stops it?
Look, the president is committed to this, right? This is a policy that he put forward because he wanted to give a little bit of breathing room to the. We're talking about almost 40 million people who are going to get borrowers who are going to get who are going to be able to get the effects of this policy. 23 million people are going to see their debt, their college debt, already wiped away. That matters. That matters. The thing to remember, I think the question to ask, or the thing to actually really think about here, is what Republicans are trying to do. When you look at these lawsuits across the country, they're coming from Republicans. And Republicans want to take away this essential need, who need an opportunity to put money down on a house.